Okay, guys, we are about to go live. As soon as I see this little bar hit the end of the screen, we will be live. I will introduce you guys and we will just chat. Sound like a plan? And I think we are live now. So one thing I want to make sure that first I'll say hi to everybody out there. I want to make sure you guys here with me feel comfortable. Just share if you guys have input. Please speak up, interrupt, do what you need. That's okay. So hi, everybody out there watching. This is Certified Life Coach Institute, and I am Brooke. I am one of the many faces at Certified, and I'm with three amazing students. Well, not students anymore, graduates now, alumni, coaches. They just finished our course this past weekend, and we're going to chat with them a bit and learn about them and what they do and what they want to do. And let's begin by introducing everybody. Ladies first, let's start with Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria Bradford.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Can you see me?
Yeah, we're okay now. We're good.
Am I supposed to tell them my pages or?
Oh, just tell me. I'm sorry. Say a little bit about yourself. What kind of coach you want to be, and just yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll do
Sorry.
It now. We'll go into it later.
Okay. So I'm Victoria Bradford. I decided to do relationship coaching, and that for now includes marriage, divorce, being single, premarital, all those. I actually started a Instagram and Facebook page. My Instagram is Coach V86, and my Facebook page is the Bradford Family Practice.
Awesome. And next up, Shamira.
Hi, I'm Shamira. I'm from Louisiana, and I am very much obsessed and passionate about people releasing things that's holding them back, people that are stuck, people that don't know exactly where they want to go. And I believe that all changes are made, they're hidden in your daily routines. So I'm working on helping people to release past hurts, anything that's holding them back, and be able to unlock their true power and become exactly who they want to be. And that's what I'm passionate about.
Awesome. We're going to talk about both you guys a little more, both those things that you guys are doing in just a few minutes. And last but not least, Eric.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Eric Cowan. I'm a training and development manager here in New York City. And as far as coaching goes, I obtained this certification because I think it will help leverage what I do as an instructor, as a content developer. My niche is really helping. I see myself as going into fatherhood coaching.
Oh, cool.
So lending assistance to fathers that are kind of going through, relationship problems, maybe dealing with divorce, custody issues, and that type of thing. So I'm really looking forward to jumping in and working with some single dads and helping them out.
That's awesome. I really like that. It's a first for me. I've not yet met a dad coach, but it's needed, right?
I hope so.
Too. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to we talked a little bit before this, but let's start with Victoria. I want to talk to you about your relationship coaching in general. And one of the things, this also applies to you, Eric, actually applies to everybody. With relationship coaching, that relationships involve everybody, not in every kind of relationship, not just what would we say, like, marriage relationships, but there's also business relationships. There are family relationships. There are, every time we interact with another human being on some level, we're forming a relationship. And so that's a big relationship coach, big word, right? So I want to encourage you to see if maybe you can narrow it down a little when it comes to your relationship as a big word. So if you had to, which way would you go with that, do you think?
I think that I would have to say business relationships.
Okay.
I think that when you have a relationship with people that you work with, your boss, companies that you may contract through, I think the rapport and the relationship itself needs to be functional. Even if you always see eye to eye, it needs to be healthy and needs to be functional in order for business to run the way it's supposed to.
Which is, Eric, you doing what you do, you said would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as a fatherhood coach, and I don't have a lot of experience in that yet. That's just an area that I'm looking to get into.
No, yeah, no, I'm talking about your day job, because for the day you said you teach. Yes. Or within a business type world, right? And there are a lot of relationship type things that happen in that world, I presume, correct?
Yeah. I mean, between clients, absolutely. Myself and my interactions with other clients, sure.
Yeah. So while with the business relationship coaching thing, what would you how would you approach marketing them? Like would you plan on sort of reaching out to them using your tagline, or what would you say to speak to those kind of folks?
That's a little bit difficult just because it's new, but I'm actually kind of working on how to network in the best way, to where when I do present the business, when I do present like, hey, these are the relationships that are here and these relate to what I'm doing, so that we can make sure it's functional. I'm super analytical. Yeah. So awesome. I literally would have to like sit with myself and kind of like write it down, sort out my thoughts, figure out which company base to offer the services to. I think that's important too. I would prefer larger businesses because there's more people to help and interact with versus so
you're thinking like it's almost like team building kind of yeah, a kind of team building sort of practice, which I like that. There's a lot of room for that. There absolutely is. There's a lot that goes into business coaching in that regard as well. A lot of tools, a lot of coaches will use tools like personality tests and things like that, or assessment tests, in order to see sort of what the strengths are of each member in the team, and really highlight those, and then figure out how best to get them to work together. I'm a fan, it's a book called Words That Change Minds. And I had originally read it from a marketing perspective, but it actually is really helpful with work relationships. And it talks about what motivates people, what gets people into action, and then knowing where to place those people within your business when you're hiring and things like that. So you can start to pick out certain words that people say to figure out if they're away from or towards people, if they work away from sort of pain or consequences, or towards goals, and knowing that you want to put a salesperson in an away from position, because you want them always sort of generating and creating that business. So it's about being able to identify strengths, and that's where using those kind of tools come in really handy in that business coaching environment. And being analytical is great too, because you'll have to, one of the things that a lot of times they want is for you to be able to, depends on how you approach it, prove your worth essentially. So you can basically prove that there was a return on investment after having hired you. And if not for them, then you'll want to do that for your own marketing and your own business later. So you can say, hey, I only cost this much, but in return, their business grew exponentially, by this amount. And you can really put those numbers in front of people, and people can't argue with numbers. So I too am very analytical. So I'm an analytical creative, which makes for an interesting time in my world. So Shamira, let's talk about you and you want to empower women to let go, right, of their pain, so they can move forward, move blocks. And so again, general, right? do you know about what age range? Do you know, tell me more about what kind of women you want to empower.
My age range would be teenagers on up to, maybe however old it could go. I don't know, maybe like a 70. Yeah,
big group.
I'm thinking, I'm not sure.
So there's a downfall that happens. Like most people don't realize it. I mean, you think I want to market to everybody. I want to tell the world. I mean, I want meant to reach as many people as possible. I know what I do is worthwhile, right? And I think everybody can benefit. But the downside of that is when you're marketing, there's only so much of you to go around. There's only so much of your time. There's only so much of if you're paying for marketing money, there's just only so much. So you have to, the more you can focus your audience, the more you can really narrow that down, the better. It's harder. It's really, really hard to do starting out. When you start out, that's difficult because when you're starting out, most people, did you guys target audience in class? Did you do that exercise in your class where you guys sort of worked through what your target audience would be and describe them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And did they all sort of come out a little like you, like yourselves?
Yes.
Yeah. That typically happens. Typically, most people relate to themselves when they set out to do, and that's just because you guys are going through your own experience on your own. Will that be the case? No. Will it stay? You guys probably, well, it depends. It can go 50-50. So in many ways, it can change very dramatically. That'll happen as clients start to come through your door and you start to get used to that. It'll start to reveal itself more and more what kind of person really is your true to God client. There was Lisa tells a story of a woman who she started out, she just thought she was going to be a regular coach, life coach, and she no niche or anything like that. For some reason, it was one transgender person to her and then recommended her to somebody else. And then it turned out her entire practice was based on transgender. And she didn't expect it at first, but that's just how it ended up. And she loves it. And it's fantastic. And she loves her job and she loves it. Just sort of happened naturally. Not a transgender woman, but ended up being her clientele. And she had she was smart enough to listen and see and notice and then sort of tailor herself to what was working. Because there's something in her that's unique that is drawing whoever her client is into her, right? So there's something about you that people will connect with. And sometimes we don't know what that is exactly. Sometimes we can't identify it in ourselves and other people do. And when you take time to really listen and pay attention to what your clients are. So I have no idea where I was going with all of that. We were talking about narrowing down your so broad spectrum. If we tried to narrow it down, how would you narrow that down a bit? Like, how would you want to bring that in if you had to, if I forced you?
The smallest range I would go would be, 21 to 40-year-olds.
Okay.
But I do have a passion for teenage girls.
Okay.
So, if I had to expand it a little more, it'll be, teenage girls to maybe like the 40-somethings.
Okay.
So I can have that whole range because I feel like that's the main population that would need to deal with it.
I feel like that since you have a passion about the teenage girl age range, right? I think that's where you should focus. Honestly, I think that you start there and you now this is just, of course, telling you what to do. But you lit up when you said, I have a passion for working with teenage girls. That there's something in you, there's a spark there. So why are you hesitating from not just focusing on that? What has you going maybe not?
Because of my peers, that the people that are my age, and a lot of my focus is knowing what I've gone through so I can help people my age and that look and think like me get through it and use the right words to help them. And be able to be a little bit more adult about it.
Okay. Well, can't you apply the same things to, isn't it almost like preventative maintenance, like if you start to work with a teenage girl, so that they don't have to end up, you know, in 30, and maybe you're helping them grow earlier on. And I saw a light in you, so I would encourage you. I understand that it's that we want to coach ourselves, right? That's what we want, because we know we can help, and it's comfortable, right? Isn't that comfortable I mean, because you feel comfortable getting people through it. But I think that a good challenge for yourself maybe to be pursuing that a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
Am I crazy? Share, you do have a pitch with you, right? Do you want to share the pitch, your elevator pitch?
Sure. I empower women to release past hurts and live as the highest, truest version of themselves.
Okay. Do you guys mind if you guys want to work with her a little bit for a moment on her elevator pitch? I want you guys to pitch in and just help me work with this. The biggest thing that you can do when working in marketing is we as people make most of our decision making subconsciously. So most of our decision making is made in our reptilian brain, which is our emotional sort of our reactive brain, and without our knowing. So there are certain things that you can do to appeal to those parts of ourselves, to that part of ourselves, I should say. And one of the things is we are kind of egomaniacal when we're in our reptilian form. So using the word "you" will make a huge difference in your copy, in your tagline. So instead of saying "I empower women," you switch out "women" for "you."
Okay.
And so read it again, doing it that way.
I empower you to release past hurt and live as the highest, truest version of yourself.
Is that more powerful to you guys?
Yeah.
What do you think? Oh yeah.
I think if you're communicating with your target audience, then that's great. But if you're approaching as kind of like just looking to put yourself out there, do you feel like you might need to be more specific about who you're addressing?
I would agree. Yes.
Yes. So I empower teen girls. So I empower women to do that, to release past hurt.
What if you did I empower women like you, maybe? So you're still speaking to them, but you can narrow it down, or you could also give an explainer sort of sentence prior to, and then do at the end on your call to action, as we say, you can then sort of address the person after that. So you give it as sort of like a backstory for a moment. So maybe speak a little bit about you and who you are in your elevator pitch, and not just about what you do. What do you think about that, Eric?
That sounds good. I'm still working on. I don't have one yet. So
you don't have one yet.
That sounds great to me. I have to actually sit down and really kind of focus on one. But that sounds good. I like it.
Well, yeah. So take a moment, Shamira, and I want you to, if you can, try to get a little more specific in a sentence, either sharing about yourself or sharing about whoever it is you're speaking to. And then share it with us again.
Okay, I have it already, Brooke.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll let you know. So I'm the youngest of 6, and a lot of people feel that you get the privilege and the honor of being able to see all your siblings make their mistakes, and then you don't have to do them, and you get you have the advantage. But unfortunately, it's not how it always happens. I saw them make mistakes, and I just decided to outdo them and make more. So it was a competition of mistake making, I assume. So I went through life accepting things that was unacceptable to me. And a lot of things that I had happened to me when I was younger. As I was growing up, I was holding on to those things, and I didn't realize how much they were sabotaging everything. They were sabotaging my relationships. They were sabotaging my goals. They were sabotaging me in general. And on top of that, I was self-sabotaging myself. So I didn't even need any help. I was doing just fine. And it wasn't until I began to unpack those things and take those things head on and realized that I had to forgive. I had to change my thinking. I had to, all of those things were the foundation of me feeling unworthy, having low self-esteem, and accepting the unacceptable, not setting boundaries. And it wasn't until I let those things go that I was able to release and to fly and to see my inner light. I unlocked my inner light by healing those things. And I want to empower women like me to release past hurt and live as the highest, truest version of themselves.
I like it. Now I want you to do one last thing. Give me a call to action. What do I have to do? What do you want me to do? What should I do? Now you've given me this great pitch, but you've left me hanging because I don't know how do I get a hold of you? How do I find you? How do I contact you? So put that
right. So email me now at coachingwithmyra@gmail.com. That's CoachingWithMyra@gmail.com. And I just want to talk risk-free. Just hit me up. We'll go from there.
I like that you know what I really like that you did in that is you brought it down to just like a comfortable, like, let's chat level. You got passionate about what you did when you first started out. It was felt a little rehearsey, like, but then you left that and we let that go and you started to be just you and got comfortable. And then that's when it was really powerful and I felt it.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you.
So be you at the end of the day. That's what you need to do. Is just be you and share that you. And then don't forget always to give people a way to find you when you're marketing yourself. Because that's what everybody's looking for. And that's what this is. I mean, we as human beings want the shortest distance between 2 points and we want to be able to get there. So you're going to reach out to people, but make sure in everything you do and everything you post, you give them a way to find you. Now, Eric, let's talk about you, and it's perfect for Father's Day. Let's talk about being a dad's coach.
Yeah. So, so really how I went about with this life coach training was the population that my company serves are individuals who are on receiving government benefits. And some of those individuals are, fathers that are going through these changes. They're going through custody, child support issues, and so forth. A lot of them are actually court ordered to come to our program to take workshops that I offer. And so I've had a lot of conversations with these clients over the years. So I've been kind of informally doing these kind of coaching sessions for a while. Mm-hmm. So just to kind of put everything into context and to really put labels on the tools.
Connect the dots. Yeah. For real quick, Eric, your mic is going up and down. Is that happening for you too? So yeah, if you could just get a little closer to the mic, I think it would be better. Or I think it's when you turn your head, we lose you a little bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Wow. It's like really like right in there.
Yeah, you were in. I hate interrupting you too. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I don't know how much you heard, but
well, we heard about the company and you already starting to coach a bit and using it, but keep telling us more.
Right. So really, I got my company to buy into the certification training. So they were willing to invest in that. I went to the program, got my certification, as you know, and I'm looking to kind of apply a lot of the tools and things that I've learned to serve some of the clients that I deal with on a daily basis. And of course, look to have my own practice where I can create my own client base to help fathers that are kind of going through transition.
So you're going to take you're going to be able to take what you've already learned, the skills you have, and then use it as a secondary line of revenue, essentially, or revenue stream for yourself, and create a secondary business that you can hopefully do, which is fantastic. Coaching is fantastic for that, for having a day job. And then, because you get to dictate, well, I can put 4 hours of time in this block, and I know I can do that. And if I can get clients, and that's 4 clients, and look at that, there's a few extra bucks for you. And it's pretty easily managed. It's not like trying to start a whole business for yourself as an extra way of making money. It is a business, but it's also something that can be very simply contained, where a lot of other businesses, you can't do that. So now, okay, first thing that went up is I had a red flag, but it may not be a red flag. And that is, are you going to pull, is your dad coaching business going to be completely separate from your day job business, or do you think there'll be client overlap there at all?
I don't think there'll be too much of conflict of interest.
Okay, that's what I was worried about right there.
The company will see that. I think that I'm still providing the service at work. Perfect. Formally, and but everyone that I come into contact with is also a potential client for me, or at least they could refer someone to me.
Yes, absolutely.
So on the coaching that I've done with them, they may have someone who's going through similar situations. So treat it as just a whole separate side.
Well, and honestly, it's a great, what you've chosen as your niche, dads that need, help as their transit. It's really, you're doing transition coaching in many ways, is that you're helping dads who are sort of in this transitional phase in some regard. And I like how specific it is too. That's fantastic. And so if you could take it one step further, and you could be, I'm helping dads going through divorces. I'm helping, or I'm helping dads who are suddenly single parent dads, that whether they're widowed or their wife left them or something. There's so many ways, and there's a lot of uncertainty in that time, and which is really a lot of what coaching is. We take uncertainty, or people who don't know how to move and progress or get into motion, and we help them clarify that vision and get moving and into action, right? So it's beautiful.
And in terms of marketing, I've already had a chance to really kind of test the waters with my clients.
Fantastic.
So I know there's a need. So knowing that, that's kind of what kind of sparked me to put everything into action.
There's a confidence booster there too, right? When you know that exists, that need exists. So what, real quick, what is let's have each of you answer. What is your next step? Like, you guys have just finished class. What are next steps are you taking? Where are you going next? What's the plan? Let's talk about that a bit.
Next step. Go ahead. No, go right ahead.
So the first thing I did, honestly, was promo. I wanted people to know that I was certified. I wanted people to know that I'm serious about what it is that I'm doing. I want to continue further learning from you guys, and I want to continue to grow as a coach and as a person. So literally the first thing I did was like promo. I was like, okay, I put something both on my Instagram and my Facebook page, and I'm like, hey, hey, I'm certified now. We can do this officially, and, just get things started. And, if you do have this time, one of the promo things that I did was for anyone to email me on either one of my business pages to, first hour, on me. I do need the experience. I do want to get used to and way more comfortable with coaching just in general. So first hour on me. Let's go and get these hours and help people in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, definitely promo.
Do you guys,
the first step.
So first step, promo, I love that. But you said you're going to give the first hour for free. Do you have a plan? This is something I want to talk to you guys about with packages, with things like that. Do you have a plan on how to transition them from that free hour into a paying customer? Because sometimes that's the hardest thing. A lot of coaches have already been coaching. They've been coaching for free. So how do you get that transition to happen from free coaching to you have to pay me now? So do you have a plan there, or?
I do.
I think.
Sorry.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. I don't want to disrupt your line of thinking.
Sorry. The first thing that I did after the promo was the hour. And so the hour is, I guess I'll say hassle free. Like, no, you don't have to sign up. You don't have to do any emails or anything. Any hour after that is when I collect the information and I send a contract with what's agreed upon as far as if you want to
Oh,
contract.
well, we're having connection issues today. We lost her. I think we lost
the contracts, or that
There she is.
I'm sorry. There. Hey, sorry.
I think we lost
so sorry. Yeah, lawyer. I'm getting a lawyer to look at the contracts and make sure everything is in line. But the first hour, like I said, is free, and every hour after that is when we discuss. We'll do like I think it's discovery, and we'll talk about like what everything is, and then I'll send everything over through like DocuSign so that they can electronically sign, the contract to make sure we're all on the same page as far as what I'm doing for them.
You are analytical, by the way. I'm just gonna. I can tell you're like me. You're in the process. You're very much in the process. You're like, we're gonna do DocuSign, and then we're gonna do that, and you have a very clear step-by-step plan.
Yeah,
which is fantastic. What I want to know is what you're going to say to that client to get them to sign on to the next, you just hope. I mean, I understand the hope is that it just happens naturally, but sometimes that's the biggest struggle coaches have, is that how do I sell my package? How do you introduce your pricing to somebody? How do you approach that subject? So tell me give me your package deal. Give me your plan. Give me that. I mean, you have an idea. I can tell.
A little bit. So I guess that kind of goes along with my elevator pitch, sort of. Well, I wrote it down. But for me, it was basically like, I want to help people to create clear pathways to like living a healthy lifestyle, when it comes to relationships and their relationships with other people. What I will do is kind of like facilitate or kind of, I'm the guy to get you to where you need to be, to sort of move whatever blocks are in your way from living the lifestyle that you want to live, Like my job is to help you to realize what is blocking you so that you can move forward and so that you can, create the life that you want to live when it comes to relationships with people.
Okay. So I want to take this. What did you guys observe in that? Do you have thoughts, Eric, Shamira?
Shamira, you want to go first? You look like you're going to say something. Ladies first.
Just give it to me straight.
I like that. I thought, no, you're doing great, Victoria. I thought that you were asking how are you going to transition from the first hour for free until getting them to get into the contract with you to continue services, because it's hard to get from free to one to pay.
Exactly. So
how are you going to sell that framework to them to make them seem like, to leave them hanging on, basically? Be like, hey, look, we're not done. This is only step one. You got to keep going. Make them feel like they have no choice but to keep going with you.
So how might you establish that? Like, how might you you've met with them for an hour. You've done a lot of coaches do what they're called discovery calls. So they'll have somebody hop on the phone. I don't suggest doing an hour. I suggest doing 15 minutes for your discovery call, because your time is valuable and you do not need to be given an hour away. If you can get people paying, get them paying as soon as possible. That is the marketing side, but it also tells you who is going to, and that's how you start to discover who your audience is, right? Because a lot of people think their audience is one person, but then they come to find out that person's probably never going to pay you for your services, and it changes at that point. So 15-minute discovery call. At the end of your 15-minute free discovery call, or what can you do within the discovery call to get them to want to come back, to get them to need to come back? There's one tool that I know conclusively that will work in this. Do you guys have any idea what that might be?
It is saying, cutting them off and leaving like a cliffhanger and saying we will finish this the next time? This was step 1. Step 2 is next week.
Close. I mean, that's part of it, but it's also the opposite. What's the first thing you guys do in a coaching session? What's the very first thing you do when you start a coaching session?
Greet them,
and then
you set out the layers, the layouts,
the set a session contract, right?
Yeah.
Set the plan for the session, but
right.
the plan for the session is only one piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are solving much bigger pieces. The plan for the session is one element of a whole. So what you want to do is really remind them that you are working towards a greater goal here, that it's not just about what you're going to accomplish in our session today. While our session today is very important, this is only a piece of the greater picture that you set forth. So you start by, in that 15 minutes, you're going to find out what they want, find out what they need, find that out quickly. And then you start to develop a plan with them. And once you start developing a plan with them, asking them the right questions so that they start to get those wheels turning and seeing how it's going to happen, seeing what that's going to look like, they'll be much more willing to buy in because you've already started the ball rolling, which is what you said in many ways, Shamaira. This is the one step, but I just really wanted to key in that it's about creating the contract in the session, even the 15-minute, and then the big picture contract as well. There's a big picture contract that happens. It's not just a little picture contract, it's the big one as well. Eric, thoughts on that?
I definitely think you have to set expectations up front. I don't know if using the word free might be good. I would let them know that it's part of the process, that this is a process. This is not a one and done.
Why would free be bad? I just want you, I'm not saying you're wrong. I agree with you. I'm just explain why free could be bad for people.
It's kind of like, I think when people hear the word free, they kind of automatically associate it with, well, how can you go from free to $150 an hour? There must be some wiggle room in there, or this
step, right?
Yeah, like the way I would approach it is I would do it as a setup, like an exploratory session, and I would apply that to their package. So make it look like it's not free. I'm going to apply this to your package once you sign on board with me.
Well, and not only that, that's a great way to do that, where you go, okay, guys, so this session right now is, it's either going to be $150 or it's free if you buy this much, right? We won't use free. It's complimentary. It's
it's part of the package.
It's part of the package. if you get this XY, this package, this package, or this package, you just have to have very clear view. One of what Lisa, who is our owner, does is she actually does, for the first session, she does her first session for $99, and you get an hour and a half of her time. Actually, I think it might be 150 now, but you get an hour and a half. Typical session is an hour. But what she does in that is she goes, okay, she knows because she does relationship coaching, her relationship coaching sessions are going to take longer, especially in the first one. The first one is like an establishing, especially with two people, it just takes longer. In every case, it takes a little longer, actually. In business coaching, my calls are usually half an hour. They can be a full hour. Welcome back. And so then what happens is they still pay her. So they still pay her, but they are getting extra time for free. Like they're getting more time with her. So it's a greater value, and it's a good way to sort of hook them in for that first session, is to give them, you get an hour and a half, but it doesn't look like you're devaluing yourself. Because that's the biggest thing with free, is free can devalue. If you're giving things away for free, it can immediately make your brand look less valuable. If it's free, then it must not be worth all that much. And it's a psychology that happens there. And that's not to say it isn't. Then that is true in the least. But there are definitely downfalls. Just like there's downfalls with having a sale. All these things have their pitfalls and their positives as well. So, however, one of the tricks, I don't know if you're looking at getting experience, and racking up hours and things like that. One of the things you can do is you can also coach other coaches. When you coach another coach, because are you going the ICF track, the full ICF track? Is that your plan?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
you
know you've got this big 100-hour thing you have to accomplish, and 75 have to be paid. But if I am coaching one of you guys, and you guys are all coaches, because of my time being valuable and your time being valuable, if we coach one another, it's an exchange of paid time. So if you coach another coach, you're generating paid hours in those moments. So that's just like a little trick for the ICF. It's in the ICF sort of small
just
writing.
Once a week.
Exactly. So I think in this too, one of the things that you've done a beautiful job of demonstrating is that you need to have a clear picture of your packages, of your plan when it comes to pricing and when it comes to that sales strategy, that funnel. Like if you're going to do a discovery call, I have a client, she spends hours and hours. She's with another coach that just, it's what part of his process. And he gets them like calling and reading a script and calling and she's exhausted because she's spending 10 hours a day on the phone. And I said, okay, how many clients have you garnered from that? Like how much success has this gotten you? Like you're exhausted. How good is this for you? This, and her response was, well, none. No paying clients. And she spends 10 hours a day doing it. Why is that? Well, one, she's giving it away for free. It's a big part of that. And so what we have her doing now is I've got her now doing group coaching. And she's pulling her clients from the group coaching sessions, and she's charging for the group coaching at a much less rate. So she's bringing people in for $50 a person, but it's a group coaching session and it brings the price down. But in that, she can connect with people, and she's able to not only be making money in her pitch, basically in her discovery set call, she's doing it to multiple people, and they're coming to her, because the biggest thing a lot of people try to do is they're trying to, I always say, they're trying to sleep with strangers, and it's hard to do that. You want to get to know them a little first, and that's a good way to do that, is to sort of start to develop a relationship in group environments.
I have a question about the group coaching.
Yeah.
Are there any issues with confidentiality, or, with people not opening up quite as much and sharing?
There can be. So as far as confidentiality goes, you just have to make sure it's explained prior to what's happening. Okay. So you just have to make sure, and walking in the door, they know what's going on. You can have a contract go out prior to, if you need or want. At minimum, there needs to be an explainer and an agreement that happens in that moment. Okay, guys, we're going to be coaching. This is going to be, please respect everybody's confidentiality. I invite everybody to be open, and always know there's going to be a degree of warm up that has to happen, right? Where everybody has to sort of get to know each other and get more comfortable. Giving everybody a chance to speak in a group coaching environment, like giving everybody a moment to sort of introduce themselves and say who they are, immediately starts to get people at ease and connect with one another. And then one of the amazing things with group coaching, because it's at first it was a little bit of a mystery to me, but it's actually very effective, because if I were to coach Eric, you guys are still learning, because we all are the same, really. At the end of the day, we all suffer from the same insecurities, the same blocks. We are people, we're human, and we are the same. And so when he's learning, and he's learning through my coaching him, you guys are learning too, right?
Right.
So it can be very effective. A lot of times with group coaching, what'll happen is there'll be like a teachable moment kind of thing, where you as a coach are doing a little more than coaching. And so you're giving a teachable moment. Okay, today we're going to talk about blocks. We're going to talk about root pain. And you sort of give an introduction, and then there's a different few ways. You can pull numbers. So basically do a random choosing of whoever you're going to do a one-on-one with for the group. Or you can laser focus, do laser coaching, little like offsets with each person in the group, and just sort of, let's talk about where this resonates with you. Let's go through it and do a coaching session, and then and you just move through them really quickly. And it just depends on your style and what you feel comfortable doing, really, in that. But it's a really good tool to use, because you can get, even if it's 4 people in a room and they're all paying $50, that's $200 in 1 hour, right? And that's what you would have made, or maybe more. And then ideally, if you do a really good job with one of them, the follow-up to that group coaching session is, hey guys, thank you for coming. If you guys ever want one-on-one, I have space. I'm accepting clients right now. Just go ahead and reach out to me anytime. And I'd love to do one-on-one coaching with any one of you. And that's how you wrap that up. I mean, you don't want to upsell too much. But.
Well, Brooke, I have a question, because if my audience would be teenage girls, teenagers don't really have money.
I agree, but their parents do.
Well, some of them may, I may be dealing with kids that's not as.
Well, that's the trick. That's the tough thing for most coaches, is a lot of coaches go into this and they want to help people who don't have they're homeless, they're hurting, they're broken, they don't have the means, right? But we go into it, we find out, shoot, those people aren't really capable of paying us as coaches. It sounds cold, but it's true. So there are ways to do that, and you can set aside a certain amount of time for people who don't have the money, and say, okay, I'm going to do X amount of pro bono hours a week, and as long as I still fill out this time with paying clients, we'll be okay. One of the things my client does, I just had her do, she's working with a homeless woman, and we just built out a social contract, because the homeless woman she has a phone, she does use social, and then on top of that too, we can tell her story by working through a contract. So we said, okay, will you post 1 time a week for us and share your experience? And that's how she's paying. She's paying through sharing her experience, and that will give value back to you, the coach, as well.
Also, I just want to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, Brooke, just to add to that. If you're interested in helping youth, another good avenue would be, there are a lot of not-for-profit places that focus on youth and at-risk youth. I know, like Covenant House and places like that, they would love to have a coach working with their organization, and they get funded, by local governments or whatever, and they're able to pay you. I mean, it would be a little bit different from having your own profession, which you could still do on the side, right? But for youth, as far as money goes, that would be a great way to maybe start, get some experience.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you, Eric. That's a great idea.
That's spectacular. And then, because then you get, and that's nice too, as a coach, that's a nice thing to be able to have a consistent, because it can be a little scary sometimes when you're starting out and it's just freelancing world. It can be fun if you don't have a day job. At times it can be a bit of a gamble, people feel like. Okay, so Victoria, I feel like, is there anything else, any questions? We have to wrap it up here pretty quickly. So do you guys have anything you want to add, anything you want to ask, anything before we go? And
well, I was thinking about about what you guys said about bringing more value to what it is that I'm doing, and I needed to hear that, honestly, and being as transparent as possible. I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in pushing the bar further so that I can be a productive person in my community. Mm-hmm. So, I needed to hear that, which was great. So I definitely appreciate it.
Well, you have value. Your time is valuable. So don't undersell yourself, because you deserve to get paid for your talents and what you do. And as coaches, we often don't think we think that we can't charge. Nobody, and we get that insecure imposter syndrome thing, but you do is valuable, and it's important, and you should charge for it. You should. So yeah,
I think I'm eager. I'm just ready to hit the ground running, basically. this is really important to me. So I definitely appreciate the feedback, and I will apply it 110%.
Good. And always, if you have more questions, reach out anytime. So yeah. Eric?
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Hour went by quick.
Yeah, I know. I hope we could stay in touch. If I'm welcome to share my contact information, and yeah, this has been very helpful. I'd like to do it again at some point.
All right. And Shamira, last but not least.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. I appreciate this, and I definitely like to stay in touch with everyone. This was really good, and it actually helped me to focus and narrow down a lot. So it was definitely good. That hour flew by.
It flew by. I know. I looked down. I was like, "It's 1:56. What?" Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the class. We're honored to have you as alumni and have you join the coaching world. So appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your time here today. And everybody watching, thank you for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, do all that good stuff. This is the Certified Life Coach Institute, and we certify coaches in 3 days. So check us out if you haven't already, and say bye, guys. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
It's going to take me a minute because I can't see my screen. So I'm going to end the meeting. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye. It's never ending. Just kidding. Bye.